time to turn on the lights, because the Danbury Westerners are playing tonight. They'll be swinging their bats and they'll be hitting home runs. It's a night of excitement and family fun.
Welcome, sports fans, to another edition of Westerners Roundup.
Welcome here to the Westerners Roundup here on Thursday, July 29th. I believe that's the date. Yeah, that's today. I'm Brian Irizarry, Westerners Roundup, as the Westerners season almost coming to a close. That's the regular season. The team, for the first time in about 4 years, actually making a very good playoff push here in 2010, and we have a great show in store for you. Had an opportunity to catch up with Ed Randall yesterday's game against North Adams. We have the manager, Jamie Shevchik, going to talk to him a little bit, and we also have first baseman Dave Ciocchi from Binghamton University. So we're going to dive right into it. The team comes in with a record of 23-16. That's good for second place in the Western Division. They're in a game and a half behind North Adams with 3 games remaining. It's a little opportunity to see if they can win the Western Division title and claim home field advantage in the 2010 playoffs. Jamie, welcome to the show. We've had you on a couple different times, so we welcome you now. Tough loss yesterday, 7-0. And what were you guys missing?
Well, we put the bat on the ball yesterday. We hit the ball hard. And coming off a game where, the past week where we won 6 in a row, we found a lot of holes. We've been getting some pretty good pitching, playing some strong defense. And yesterday, we didn't really change from what we were doing for the past couple of days. We made a couple mistakes that cost us early in the game. But we hit the ball. We did everything that we've been doing for the past week, and they just didn't find it.
What is it about the North Adams team that they had played a game at 12 o'clock yesterday against Bristol? Temperature was like 93, 94 degrees. The humidity level was pretty high. And then is it just because they're young and they could play 10 games in a day that they didn't really look lethargic, and it was Danbury that just couldn't find a hole?
I don't know if it's pretty much Bristol, with only being 40 minutes away, it's almost like being a standard doubleheader. Yeah. I mean, it's not like they were going from Vermont or Maine and then having to drive all the way down here. We did that trip earlier or last week where we had to go from Newport to Lowell to New Hampshire, and that was a long bus rides in between, and it was a little bit of a different story. I think they took it as a regular doubleheader. They got beat by Bristol. And, with their backs against the wall, they came up and secured first place again.
So yesterday was a little bit of a stumbling block. You guys had a 6-game losing streak. You snapped that. Then you had a 6-game winning streak. You wound up losing yesterday, and now you have 3 games remaining. Still an opportunity to win the Western Division title. What is the philosophy now going in? Because it's towards the tail end of the season. These kids have been playing baseball all year round, and I'm sure that they need to find their 3rd, 4th, 5th win right now. So how do you keep them motivated to finish up the season and get ready for the playoffs?
We didn't expect to win every game down the stretch here, but we do expect to be playing our best baseball. And with the hiccup that we had last night, I think what we need to do tonight is bounce back with a well-played game, get back in the win column, finish out strong, and go into the playoffs playing our best baseball.
The other night, largest crowd in Westerners history, I think, with over 1,300. Place was mobbed. Everywhere you look left, you look right, there was people there. And I didn't like it because when I wanted to eat, the line was long. But, talk about the success that you've seen over the past 3 years. To get a crowd of 1,300 at that small ballpark is pretty ruckus and pretty loud.
2 years ago, my first year, I think, when I first got here into the league, it was a disaster. We had probably 50, 60 people in the stands, and that was probably a good night. We weren't very good. I'm going around to all these other ballparks where they're drawing 1,000, 1,500, and trying to figure out why we can't do this in Danbury.
Yeah.
Last year, was a little bit better. We were in a playoff push. We started getting a little bit more people involved, a little bit more people supporting the team, and I think the buzz got going a little bit earlier this year, right from the breakfast that we had right before we started playing our first game, where we almost guaranteed a playoff spot with the type of kids that we had. And the crowds have been pretty good for the most part of the year. And playing in front of 1,300 is there's just a whole better feel, a better atmosphere. The guys are going to play a little bit harder. It's a little bit more to play for. It's not just playing for yourselves, playing for your coaches. You're playing for the people that are involved in the organization. You're playing for the people that are coming out and supporting you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. You guys are getting geared up for this playoff push, and this is the first time they brought you back for the third season. This playoff push is coming on up. What should people anticipate kind of going on in? You guys, this team is similar to like an old car. It takes a little while to warm up, but then once you get going, I mean, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So you have the remainder of this 3 games. You have the playoffs coming on in. What's the focus to make sure that you guys are getting 100% and you make a good long run in the playoffs?
I think the most important thing right now is making sure that last night's loss and doesn't turn into tonight's loss or turn into tomorrow night's loss, because then you have a tough time finding that feel to win again. So we've got to get right back into the win column today or tomorrow and get that get that feel back and get that swagger back that we lost when we lost those 5 games in a row. We got it back. We put 6 in a row. We've just got to get it back and have a better feel and more confidence going into Monday's first round of the playoffs.
All right. This is Jamie Shevchik. We'll still have him on here. We're going to now talk to Dave Ciocchi. He's the first baseman for the Danbury Westerners. Just realized that he is an alma mater. Well, not an alma mater. Yeah, an alma mater of John Jay High School, where I went to school. Grew up right down the road from me, and now we're going to be hanging on out. But welcome Dave Ciocchi into town from Hopewell Junction, New York, first baseman. You are leading the team in steals. But you're by far the smallest first baseman that I've seen. I say, how do you overcome that quirk, because it hasn't seemed to be a problem all season long?
Well, first base was a position I never really played until I got to college. It actually was kind of a last-minute thing. They needed a guy to fill the spot, and they knew I could hit a little bit, and they said, listen, as long as you hit, we feel comfortable throwing you out there. So I got to learn the position just last year, and since then I haven't moved. But it's in the back of my mind a little bit that I'm not the tallest guy out there, but I have faith in my my infielders to make a good throw, and I'll do the best I can for them.
Yeah, you do a pretty good job. Even though you're kind of small and compact, you kind of give that target, and you're pretty good at digging the ball on out. What I've noticed is you have a little bit of an upward stance, and there's no real bend to your knees, but then when the ball comes on in, it's kind of like you're a slingshot. So talk a little bit about your stance and how you approach coming into every at-bat.
Well, as far as my stance is concerned, it's something I've always done. Since I was young, I haven't really changed my stance at all. And as far as being upright, I guess that's just the position I'm most comfortable in, as far as picking up what pitch it is and reading the ball out of the pitcher's hand. And I like to stay as quiet as possible when I hit, as far as not moving a lot.
Yeah.
And then once I recognize what pitch it is, I'm able to make an aggressive move on the ball, and that's like what I like to do as far as being aggressive when I'm hitting.
So let's take a couple steps back. You went to John Jay High School in Hopewell, and you had a pretty good season there, and then you wound up going to Binghamton. Talk about how you chose Binghamton University and their baseball program, and why you went up to upstate New York.
Well, I had like 4 or 5 schools left that I was looking at that I was able to narrow it down to, and I think the reason I went with Binghamton is it's a good area. I like the campus a lot. A couple other schools I was looking at, like Marist College, is also a great college. It's just 20 minutes from my house, so it was a little too close for me.
Yeah, good decision to go away.
Yeah, so I decided to get a little further from home. And another thing that really stood out to me about Binghamton is the academics are really good, and I knew I'd get a good deal as far as athletics and academics, because we're a good baseball program up there, and I'm also in the School of Management, which is one of the best programs in the nation. So I'm really happy where I'm at, and that's probably why I chose Binghamton.
Talk about the competitive nature in the America East. You guys have teams like University of New Hampshire, Hartford, UMBC. Talk about their baseball programs and how the America East really kind of keeps you competitive to come over here and play in the NACBL.
Well, as far as the America East is concerned, it is a small conference, and we all know it's a small conference. Yeah. So we don't gloat or brag about too much, but we do stay competitive in our own way. It really gets. I feel like the intensity level is in an America East game truly is the same as maybe an ACC game, and I know ACC people might think I'm crazy when I say that, but it really is. We take it seriously just like everyone else. We know we're considered the little guys, I guess, but we don't really let that bother us, and I think we're as competitive as anybody up there.
Bottom line, it's a game of baseball. You guys play baseball, and whether you go to a big school with 30,000, you go to a small school with 15,000,
right,
you're still going to play a sport.
Absolutely.
You lead the team in stolen bases, lead the league in stolen bases. Shev talks about the aggressive nature of the team. You guys steal a lot, you'll get caught a lot, you get picked off, but it's that nature of it. So when you get aboard, what's your mentality to try to, is it just to get, the pitcher out of his groove and make sure that the middle infielders are moving around, and then, what do you look for to make sure that you're going to make that steal and when to go and how to, it's literally an art.
Right.
Try to steal a base.
Well, like you said, Coach Shev's very aggressive, and he told us from day one he's going to be aggressive and he's going to give us green lights and he's going to want us to make things happen. So I kind of cemented that into my head from day one, knowing that, okay, if I get on base, I got to look to make things happen. So that's basically what I've been doing all summer long. And basically, once I get on base, I'm looking to get in the scoring position for my for our hitter to try to get a run in for us.
Asking Shev about the loss last night, 7-0. You guys have 3 games remaining, and the great thing about baseball, every day is a new day. How do you forget about the loss and not kind of linger it and bring it over into Vermont, then into Laconia on Friday, and then up to North Adams on Saturday?
Well, like you said, it's a new day, and especially in these summer leagues, we're playing every day, and it's something I learned from the beginning, that it's not like do or die anymore. If you have a bad game, you could always say, hey, I'm playing tomorrow, and it's really a long season. So we're all mature enough as baseball players. We've been playing this game all our lives that we know that it's too hard of a game to get so down on yourself. So we know that there's always the following day to bounce back, and that's the mentality we'll have tonight.
What is the biggest obstacle here? Because you play every day, and then we're in college, you might play on a Tuesday, and then next game might be on a Friday. So what's the biggest obstacle where you're going from spacing games out to now playing every day, 44 games in 45 days?
It is an adjustment you have to make, but your body gets used to it pretty quickly. But you also have to take care of yourself outside your games, as far as what you do when you're home, and taking care of your body after the game, what you do the night before. So it's almost like a cycle you get used to, and or a routine rather. And once you get a good grasp on how to handle yourself and take care of yourself, it's really not too much of an issue.
Let's talk a little bit about how you found Danbury, how you found the Westerners, found the NECBL. A lot of baseball leagues, the Cape Cod League is probably one of the premium summer leagues, but NECBL, I like to say that this is more of a league that's similar to minor league ball. You play every day, but you travel. You're going from here to Vermont, specifically tonight, and you have to travel around instead of the Cape Cod League where, ballparks are 15, 20 minutes apart. So how did you find Danbury, and, how are you liking your time here?
Well, first of all, I really love Danbury a lot. I'm having a great time this summer. The guys are great. We have great chemistry on the team. So, I'm definitely happy with my decision to come here. As far as finding Danbury, I always knew of the team. I knew the NECBL was a great league. And originally, my coach was going to send me down to Virginia to play in the Cal Ripken League. And then I heard about this team, and, I put a word into my coach, and I said, hey, listen, that's a team that if I play for them, I could live home, and that's something that I definitely was interested in. And he goes, okay. So, he put my name in, and the coaches were nice enough to give me a shot, and here I am, and I couldn't be happier.
We're here on the Westerners Roundup. We're talking to Dave Ciocchi, the first baseman from Binghamton University, as well as the manager, Jamie Shevchik. Season just have 3 games remaining. Vermont tonight, and then Laconia on Friday at 4 o'clock, and then North Adams on Saturday. Playoffs will start on Monday, August 2nd. But Shev, let's bring you back on. Talk to us a little bit about Dave, and I talked about how upward stance, but yet it's kind of a slingshot and a small first baseman, but yet he seems to be in the lineup all the time.
And he deserves to be in the lineup all the time. He's probably been our most consistent hitter the entire year. It's funny because he's always anytime we get a guy on second base, guy in scoring position, he might get beat on a pitch, strike one. He might get beat on a pitch, strike two. But you always know that he's going to put the ball in play, and that you've got a very good chance that he's not going to get beat on strike 3. Doesn't strike out very often. Like I said, always gives us an opportunity to get on base and score runs. And like I said, it's been probably the most consistent hitter from the first game to where we are right now.
Let's talk about the offense a little bit. You have some guys that kind of have hit a little bit of a drought. Tucker Nathans, Brian Kanacki here and there, and then you get guys like Thor Meeks that are continue to rise their batting average, Mike Williams, a couple other guys that are kind of stepping on up, Dave Ciocchi, and Dave's been the most consistent person, but the offense making into this push, you really need to get people on some sort of consistency to make sure that you guys have a good push and stay, long in the playoffs.
It almost seems like we're flip-flopping with some of the guys. Tucker Nathans, Derek Ingwe, some of these guys have kind of tapered off a little bit, and then like you said, other guys are stepping it up. Thor Meeks went from, he struck out 17 out of his first 22 at-bats, and up until last night was, I think, struck out once throughout his last 46 at-bats, has a 17-game hitting streak. It raised his average from a .54 to up to 310 in the matter of 3 or 4 weeks. So he's been helping a lot, and he's found himself in the lineup every day. And I think if we can just find a little happy medium, if he can just stay on par where he's at, and Tucker Nathans and Ingwe and Brennan, Jimmy Brennan, who's been was our best hitter for the first half of the year, really tapered off. He went from a 750 batting average down to, I think he's under 300 right now. But if we can just put it together where everybody's doing a little bit of their own part, we're going to be a tough team to beat in the playoffs.
Dave, let's talk a little bit about the defense and how, in the beginning of the season, you guys are, coming from different schools, from Binghamton, from Tulane, from Marshall, all these different guys, and it's kind of a little bit of a melting pot, and you all have different styles of baseball, even though it's the same game. How do you get the defense to click on all cylinders and kind of, figure things out so you guys know where to be, who's going to do what, double play ball, different things like that?
Well, we know that when it comes down to it, defense is going to win the game. I mean, you're not going to hit every night. That's just the way it is. That's baseball. But you should be able to, play defense every night. So, and we know that. And as far as, guys from different schools, we all may play different ways, but we all know how to play the game in our own way. So, we were able to find a way to mesh those different ways together. And for the most part, it's brought us success. And we're hoping that we could continue that for the last 3 games and on into the playoffs.
So 3 games remaining, kind of beat the dead horse with this. Is there any specific team that stands out that, potentially you guys might match up in the playoffs that you like how they play and they, their offense works, their defense works, and might be a tough obstacle for you guys to overcome?
In my opinion, with this league, I feel like anybody can beat anybody. I mean, every team has good players. So, I mean, like North Adams is a perfect example. Coming into last night, we've beaten them 3 out of 4 times, and no other team really seems to have success against them. But, like I said, I feel like it basically comes down to who's together. I mean, that's something Coach Shev told us from the beginning. The team who comes together first and the best is the team that's going to be successful. So I feel like, whatever team is hot and whatever team, has good chemistry going into the playoffs is the team that's going to come out on top.
The one thing that I find consistent in all minor leagues, it's a long season, and obviously you're playing for a championship, but the season is long. So then all of a sudden now, where you're seeing teams like Vermont that are kind of leaving because they didn't make the playoffs. They're tired. They're glad to go home, but yet you guys need to play a couple more extra weeks. Right. So how do you get that? How do you dig deep and find that extra fuel to kind of push yourself for another couple weeks when it's been 2 months already?
Well, it's definitely a grind, but we know what we're playing for. We know that, guys are tired, guys want to go home, but it'd be a waste to just throw the last week of the season away after being here for a full 2 months. You might as well finish off strong, you know what I mean? So that's what we're trying to cement into our heads, and hopefully we could ride with that mentality.
There's one more regular season home game remaining, and then you guys are getting ready for the playoffs. So for fans that are potentially stumbling across the show or watching the show and starting to catch with the buzz, what's a kind of a message to them to come support you guys?
Well, we definitely don't want to end the season on the night we had last night at Rogers Park. So
definitely not.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to come out. I mean, we've been great at Rogers Park all summer long. We're all comfortable playing there. We like playing there. So there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to come out swinging on Friday, and we're going to be looking to bury that team and make a statement going into the playoffs and making a statement as our final home game of the summer.
Chev, same question. Somebody just stumbling across this show and hasn't been out, or maybe came to one game and potentially you guys lost. What's the message to come out and support you guys getting ready for the playoffs?
We're gonna be in it. We're in it for the long haul. One of the things that I wanted to tell these guys in the playoffs is, Dave Ciocchi, Binghamton University, has a very, very small chance in his next 2 years of college baseball of ever going to Omaha to play for the World Series. And for some of these guys, this could be the last chance at summer league or not to play in a championship game and to win a championship. Even for myself, there's probably maybe 2 or 3 people that have a realistic opportunity of playing for a national championship in college. So championship, local, summer, on the big stage, we've got to make a run for it. It's going to mean a lot to this city. It's going to mean a lot to our team, and we've stayed together for the entire summer, and I think we've got the right mix going forward.
Well, that's the playoff Westerners Roundup. We appreciate Dave Ciocchi and Jamie Shevchik stopping on by. These guys got to catch a bus. I got to head back to New York, but I had an opportunity to catch up with Ed Randall from Talking Baseball with Ed Randall. batforthecure.org, and it talks about prostate cancer and how men should go out and get tested from their doctor to prevent the disease. Had an opportunity to catch up with them. We're going to go right to that, but I'm Brian Irizarry. This has been another edition of Westerners Roundup.
Welcome here. We're live at Rogers Park. This is a little break of the Westerners Roundup. I'm Brian Irizarry. I'm just at Rogers Park instead of sitting in the studio. Here with Ed Randall, talking baseball with Ed Randall on WFAN radio. For those of you in the area should know where WFAN, it's located in the #1 market down in the city, and also the same show is on MLB.com. Ed, you're here at Danbury Westerners, Bat for the Cure. I'm pretty familiar with Bat for the Cure. It's all across minor league baseball. You've touched here in the NECBL. Now you guys are expanding much, much more. You're a survivor of prostate cancer. Tell us a little bit about the foundation and how much progress you guys have made.
Well, we're making, I'd like to think, a lot of progress right now. I filed our 501c3 in 2003. And this is a great opportunity for us to come to Danbury. We've never done anything in amateur baseball before. We've done work at the major league level with screenings with the New York Yankees, Tampa Bay, and the Chicago White Sox, and also in the NBA with the Chicago Bulls. We've done, this is now our 4th year of doing prostate cancer awareness nights in the minor leagues. Over more than 130 clubs. We're now an official charitable partner of minor league baseball. But the wonderful Tom Spooner called and said, would you like to come up to Danbury in late July? There's a major event going on. I have fondness for the organization because they were kind enough to invite me to speak at their breakfast some years ago. And I did, so I've never forgotten the Danbury Westerners, so we're really happy to be here tonight.
When you come out to an event like this, the main goal is awareness, but anything specific that you focus on to make sure that you actually are touching each of the fans that are here? Is it just awareness?
It's about awareness and education, and telling men that just because they feel good doesn't mean they are good. The day that I was diagnosed with cancer, I was 47 years old with no history of cancer in the family and no symptoms. And I swear to you, Brian, that as I was diagnosed, I felt like I feel being with you right now. I was fine. Yeah. I had no symptoms. I've come to learn through the years that prostate cancer is asymptomatic. There are no symptoms. And that is probably the most alarming aspect about prostate cancer, the fact that you don't know you have it. But you can find out by going for a simple PSA blood test every year. And that is what we preach, awareness about the disease existing and education to try and prevent it. 1 in 6 Caucasian men in this country will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. Yeah. If he's African American, 1 in 4, where the incidence of prostate cancer is 2 to 3 times higher than it is in the white community. Tragically, and we don't know why. Also, and this is probably, and we're baseball guys, so we love stats, a man is 33% more likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer than a woman is breast cancer. Again, a man is 33% more likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer than a woman is breast cancer. We have more deaths, we have more cases. This is a call to action to all men over the age of 40 to go get a simple blood test, that what you don't know could kill you. Yeah. And that you have a responsibility to your wife and your girlfriend and your partner and your son and your daughter and your aunt and your uncle and your grandmother and grandfather and your dog and your cat.
And your best friend.
And your best friend and everybody else to do this. It is extraordinarily important. And when I see sometimes in the New York Times obituary or someplace that somebody has died of prostate cancer, I think to myself, they never went to the doctors. Yeah. And it's tragic, and I think of it as such a waste. But the greatest stat for guys that are stat guys like you and me, baseball, there's a 96 to 97% cure rate if it's caught early. I'm one of those lucky guys.
Well, just so you know, I'm not a stat guy. I believe in telling people a little bit more about the game, but the stats, definitely don't lie. What is it about events like this, just sports in general, that is such an attraction for this foundation? Other things like breast cancer we've seen in Major League Baseball with the pink bats and the armbands. I know for you guys, for the Bat for the Cure at Dodge Stadium last year, it was the light blue wristbands and all that stuff. What is it about the sports venues that allow you to get your message? Is it just the people?
In the minor leagues, minor league baseball has a demographic that Major League Baseball would kill for, because in many cases Major League Baseball has priced themselves out of the household of people in this country who just simply can't afford to go to the ballpark. And if they can, they go once a year now. They can't go 4, 5, 10 times a year. Minor league baseball, I believe, is the crown jewel of American professional sports. Demographically, it works. 42 million fans walked through the gates of minor league baseball stadiums in 2009, which is greater than the NFL, greater than the NBA, greater than the NHL. The only sport that is larger than minor league baseball is Major League Baseball. So we see this as a great opportunity. It's where men gather. And so we gravitate towards that. But I have to tell you that beyond the fact that we are in professional sports now and going into the NHL and the NBA and the NFL this coming fall, the fact is we are now also going into the private sector. And we just did an awareness day at CBS. We just did an awareness day at CBS. We're working with UBS, with the bank. We're working with 1-800-Flowers, Hewlett-Packard, and all of these other organizations to inform and educate their employees about the existence of prostate cancer and how easily preventable it is.
Lastly, I overheard that, and of course we got to lean here just because the inning is over, but I heard in September you guys are going to be changing batforthecure.org, changing the name. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. I came to this epiphany at the end of the World Series last year that we needed to make our outreach greater. And that was when I came up with the idea that we need to go into the private sector, to the CBSs, to the Delta Airlines, Hewlett-Packards, and so on and so forth. But also beyond that, let's change the name to Fans for the Cure, because there are a lot of men out there whose souls are worth saving who don't go to the arena and they don't go to the ballpark. But everybody is a fan of something. You could be a fan of Bon Jovi. You could be a fan of Derek and the Dominoes. May they rest in peace. You can be a fan of the opera, of Broadway shows, of politics, whatever. So we believe that we can expand our scope by calling it Fans for the Cure. So starting in September, it will be Fans for the Cure.
All right, well, that's Ed Randall here at Rogers Park. I'm Brian Irizarry. You can get more information for Bat for the Cure. It's located right behind us. Batforthecure.org. That's all the information, and I'm sure if you stop at a minor league ballpark throughout the course of the remainder of the season here at Rogers Park and elsewhere, you could see Bat for the Cure. Ed, thank you very much for the time.
Brian, great to be with you. Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it, and we're back now to the Westerners Roundup. I will be back in the studio. I'm just not in two places at one time.